Hello, and welcome to this video on the Flix Financial channel. In this video, I want to introduce you to the stocks that I will personally buy in March 2021 and buy as many as I can. But before I get into the topic of this video, I want to let you know that this video is not financial advice or investment advice. It's just my personal opinion. So let's take a look at the tips for March. Stock number 1, Secureitas. The first stock I want to buy is Secureitas, a security company. Yes, Secureitas should say something here. Why could you do this? Because this is a very famous security company. The name says secure, so equal to security. The current price for this share is 12.48 euros. Why did I choose it? On the one hand, Secureitas is active worldwide, very famous, and has many years of experience in the region, and because they are the losers of the crisis, except for price increases. We are always here to look at the last 10 years. It is also very interesting to me whether this company pays dividends. This applies here, and it is not bad at all. Even in the 2020 crisis, the dividends is still 3.14%. So, if we look back over the last 10 years, we can see that the dividend growth has been very good, even with longer horizontal fluctuations between 2016 and 2020. Of course, this big setback was in March 2020 when the global economy collapsed. Of course, there were a lot of festivals, a lot of big events were canceled, and clubbing was no longer possible. Of course, there are many other things, whether it's security technology or security concepts and security, whether men or women still able to perform well. This is, for example, in real estate or housing that need to be protected. You could also see here that, for example, everything is moving in the direction of a vaccine. Stock number 2, RWE. I will buy or have bought the next stock. So I already have RWE in my portfolio. I have introduced an energy provider in my channel, and the current price is 32.55 euro. In my opinion, this is also a huge bonus, which is 2.45%. So very good stocks have a high dividend component. And here I see not only the dividend potential, but also the price potential. At first glance, you might not believe that. If you look at the chart of the last 10 years, you can see that initially it went down sharply. Why, for example? Because RWE is certainly in all the old-fashioned power generation processes. With the decline of lignite, etc., all kinds of loads would have to invest a lot of money here, including for the conversion of renewables. Of course, it still has an excellent market position, and you can see that in 2016, after this sideways movement from 2016 to 2017. Everything went through a nice upward trend, and here actually through the European Green Agreement with a lot of EU subsidies. But, for example, also through Germany directly, but also in other countries, for example, also in the US, are therefore very, very positively positioned for the future, and are also investing a lot here in renewables, and are already investing very well here, and are set up, and so you could also see that the course went very well last year, and at the moment, I think we are here because of a unique event. Stock number 3, Adobe Systems. The third stock that I personally recommend and buy is Adobe. Adobe Systems should also be identified as another system that uses computers a lot, as it is a software company that currently costs 395.25 euros. Adobe stocks are the absolute market leader. Perhaps here is the general tip, since Adobe Systems is known to anyone who wants to invest in fixed stocks. So you can see it on the stock price. It's really a dream. Great performance over the last 10 years, but I also want to say exactly why I would recommend it now. Of course, no doubt it would have been nice to invest 10 years ago, but why now? Why in March? Throughout the change, there was a lot of pressure because of the crisis that was pretty much over in digital life. And also Adobe was very, very dominant with software like Photoshop. but also, for example, Creative Cloud in general, and can also work it very well and enjoy it. But you can also see here that there's been quite a bit of lateral movement since the summer. Why? Because on one hand, of course, the price increase was enormous here after March, and on the other hand, of course, because there was some lack of momentum here. There was also a new startup that was bought that would bring some growth in the cloud sector. And currently we see here a technology sector that, because of some difficulty, a big increase that I saw. Stock number 4, Royal Gold. The fourth stock I want to introduce to you is Royal Gold. I also want to say why I'm currently investing in Royal Gold here. On the one hand, because gold is of course always a good part of the deposit. The stock cost 89.18 euros. On the other hand, I also want to say why I chose Royal Gold and not somehow, for example, Barrick Gold or Newmont, which are actually market leaders. This is partly because the market leaders actually have their own mines and dig there. That means hiring people directly and digging their own mines, then working the profits and then selling them. Royal Gold is a little different. They own the mines but don't work in there. This means that the licenses issued are much more flexible, have lower costs, don't have their own employees to work in the mines, and basically just enjoy the licenses and sell to companies that later work in the mines. Why is the topic of gold interesting now in general? Because gold is a safe haven, of course, and almost everyone bets on gold in times of crisis. Sure, you could say, yes, but the crisis is almost over, or it seems like it's going to end slowly at some point when it would be pretty bad, because then the price of gold goes down and people tend to go back to stocks. Yes, that's also true. On the other hand, it has to be said that people are already rich in stocks, so the price of gold has already dropped again. People are emptying all their money into stocks, and in principle, of course, the crisis will eventually be over. But on the other hand, it must be said that the next crisis may occur again. I don't think that the whole world economy will collapse, but we have a lot of money in circulation today. We have a lot of money in the stock markets. It's also called dumb money, that everybody is kind of going public now and just wanting to invest, and everything is increasing in some way. The stock markets are extremely crowded with money, so there is a lot of money in circulation. So it may well be that, for example, central banks printing a lot of money may lead to a small dip in overall stock markets. But as I said now, it could come to a small crash, as I think because the markets are overheated. Then gold could bounce back a little bit. But on the other hand, of course, I had already mentioned that central banks print a lot of money and then have to keep the corresponding value in the form of gold. Central banks are actually storing gold here, and they need to justify that amount or have an equivalent value. And this is where it could certainly be interesting in 2021 or 22 because of all the stimulus packages that many central banks are doing. The decision to print new money. Here, gold will definitely play a role again, and it could be very interesting for the price development. And just because of the flexibility, I recommend Royal Gold, because the price is technically favorable, but also very well located in terms of the business model. Stock number 5, Borussia Dortmund. Yes, the fifth stock is Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund is a stock corporation and can be traded on a stock exchange. I invested in Borussia Dortmund at 85.35 euros. Just because it seems cheap for the first time does not mean that the stock in general are valued cheaply, since BVB can really profit here when the stadiums are reopened to spectators, and I actually see potential here in the last 10 years. BVB is a solid company. Of course, it always depends a lot on how the team works, how it plays, whether it is successful in the Bundesliga, whether it is successful internationally. The whole thing grows again with the income of the spectators, in general the Bundesliga, but also in general all international soccer events will give a little more money, and the BVB will also benefit here. I am very convinced of that, and the current price is relatively cheap, but I still think the stock can start again here. So I think maybe 7 to 8 euros, maybe even 9 euros in 2021, which really depends on how quickly the stadiums reopen, how quickly the spectator income will rise again, but see a lot of potential here at the moment. And maybe things will go so well again that BVB will even pay a dividend from time to time. Yes, those were my 5 suggestions on stock in March 2021. I hope you liked the video. If so, then write in the comments how you found the video, whether you might invest in one or the other stock there too. Leave a like and subscribe, and otherwise hit the bell icon to not miss any more videos from me. I upload every 2 or 3 videos per week on the subject of making money, finance, stocks, and would be really happy if the community would continue to grow. I wish you all the best for the future until the next video. Take care, your Flix Finance.